the stance that I have taken, the stance that 90% of Americans, and I would imagine 99% of elite level athletes have, that men should not be in women's sports. It's harmful to women to allow such.
People have been speculating, is Brittney Griner actually a female or a male? Now, Brittney Griner actually does play in the WNBA, which is a women's basketball association, right?
I think there's probably one other job that you're about to get into that is really hard and really scary. You're about to be a mom. How is that feeling? Pops. Oh, let me get it together.
Pops.
About to be a pops.
You know, not everybody has that smooth coming out, but you know, once you do it, it's like a light came on me, on the inside, around me, everything. I felt like I was Brittney Griner.
Let's talk about Riley Gaines stirring things up again, but this isn't her usual commentary on trans athletes. She's taking direct aim at the WNBA now, making explosive claims that league officials pressured players into silence regarding Brittney Griner's biological sex. Multiple sources report Riley alleging that team executives issued strict warnings. No comments about Brittney, no questions, don't even bring it up. Since she went public with these claims, she's faced what appears to be complete ostracization from league events, the kind of reaction that makes you wonder what's really being hidden here. The situation raises serious questions about what's truly happening with Brittney Griner's status in the league. While Riley's been vocal since the Leah Thomas controversy, these latest accusations carry a different weight entirely. If there's any truth to her claims, we could be looking at a scandal that reshapes the entire WNBA landscape. Let's break this down properly. How did we reach this point? It traces back to Riley Gaines' evolving role as a whistleblower in women's sports. After her controversial tie with Leah Thomas during NCAA swimming championships, Riley transformed from critic to full-time activist. She didn't just voice concerns, she launched what amounts to a systematic challenge against current policies. What makes her stance particularly striking is how she frames the issue, not just as competitive fairness, but as an actual safety concern for female athletes. Here's a key moment where she lays out this perspective clearly.
The stance that I have taken, the stance that 90% of Americans, and I would imagine 99% of elite level athletes have, that men should not be in women's sports. It's harmful to women to allow such.
She's fundamentally arguing this goes beyond statistics or podium finishes. It's about protecting women from physical harm in competitive spaces. Regardless of where you stand on the issue, these are serious allegations gaining traction. Concerned, now she's directing these claims at Brittney Griner specifically, suggesting the WNBA is orchestrating an unprecedented cover-up regarding the player's biological sex. This brings us to the million-dollar question everyone's asking. Why would the WNBA go to such lengths to protect Brittney Griner's status? If Riley's sources are even partially accurate about this alleged suppression of information, we're dealing with something far more significant than typical league politics. First, consider the catastrophic fallout if it were confirmed the league knowingly permitted a biologically male player to compete. The legal ramifications alone would be staggering. We're talking congressional investigations, player lawsuits, and potentially devastating fan abandonment. Second, the historical implications would be enormous. Griner's entire legacy, championships, all-star selections, statistical records, would face immediate scrutiny. Every achievement would become subject to potential revision or erasure. That context makes this next clip particularly revealing, showing Brittney in her first championship moment, celebrated as the face of the league.
First WNBA championship, what will you remember most?
Just the fight and everything that we had to do to get this win. Definitely remember that iron that tooth. It was all worth it to hold this trophy.
Thank you, Brittney. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now imagine the league being forced to retroactively invalidate those career-defining moments. The logistical and reputational nightmare of rewriting that history would be unprecedented. Third, and this is crucial, Brittney isn't just any player. She's become something much larger, the athlete who endured Russian imprisonment, whose release involved high-stakes international negotiations. Her story transcended sports, becoming a geopolitical talking point. Her return wasn't just a sports story, it was treated as a national moment. This next segment captures exactly how her homecoming was framed by the league and media.
While relieved to be back on U.S. soil and back on the basketball court as she resumes her position as center for the Phoenix Mercury, Griner is forever changed by the experience and says she won't put herself in such a vulnerable position again.
Well, I can say for me, I'm never going overseas to play again unless I'm representing my country at the Olympics. If I make that team, that would be the only time I would leave the U.S. soil, and that's just to represent the USA.
She returned not just as an athlete, but as a symbol of resilience with massive public support. When Riley Gaines targets Griner, she's not just challenging a player, she's confronting the league's most protected figure. Fourth, and this could be pivotal, if Riley's claims gain legitimacy, it would represent the ultimate validation of her biological fairness movement. She's long argued that trans women shouldn't compete against biological females, and proof of undisclosed male biology in the WNBA would be her movement's defining evidence. This explains why the league appears to be aggressively marginalizing her. In this next clip, Riley articulates exactly why the establishment sees her as such a threat.
My take is just about the least controversial take on the entire planet. It's described as an 80-20 issue. I think it's more drastic than that. I think it's a 90-10 issue, if not even more than that. 90% of Americans, of course, believing that men don't belong in women's sports, but for saying that out loud, publicly and unapologetically, you're really met with some of the most hostile and oftentimes violent encounters that you could possibly imagine.
The complete institutional blackout she's facing raises obvious questions. If her claims were baseless, why the extreme suppression efforts? Fifth, and this connects to bigger sports infrastructure, remember the WNBA's direct ties to the NBA. The men's league provides substantial financial and promotional support, yet has remained conspicuously silent throughout this controversy. This silence reads as complicity to some observers, suggesting the NBA may be assisting in containing what could become a cross-league scandal. Sixth, this strikes at the WNBA's core brand identity. The league has positioned itself as the vanguard of progressive sports culture, outspoken on LGBTQ+ and trans inclusion. If they've been concealing biological realities, that carefully constructed image would face irreversible damage. Consider this archival soundbite from former WNBA leadership emphasizing their inclusive values.
The WNBA has long embraced the LGBT community, both on the court and in the stands. But starting this week, it will become the first professional sports league to have a marketing campaign specifically targeting those fans.
And for us, it's really a celebration of diversity and inclusion and a recognition of an audience that has been with us very passionately.
Should these allegations prove true, that inclusion rhetoric would become instant fodder for critics. Finally, the legal consequences could be existential. If official documents contain willful misrepresentations regarding biological sex, we're looking at potential fraud charges, contract violations, and international sporting repercussions. The financial and structural impacts could fundamentally alter the league. In essence, if Riley's claims have merit, this isn't just another sports controversy, it's potential history in the making. So what sparked this firestorm? The flashpoint came during a routine Mercury Fever game. After Caitlin Clark absorbed a hard foul, cameras caught Brittney's intense reaction, including audio that Riley immediately seized upon as evidence. Here's the contested moment that launched 1,000 conspiracy threads.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
While the audio quality is debatable, Riley amplified it as definitive proof. Her viral social media posts framed it as smoking gun evidence, drawing attention to Griner's controversial prisoner exchange. This triggered deeper internet investigations, yielding more questionable findings. Most notably, discrepancies emerged about Griner's Russian detention conditions, with some reports claiming she was housed in a men's facility despite official narratives. This clip of Griner discussing her imprisonment contains some potentially revealing details about the living arrangements.
Didn't fit.
Like in that particular jail.
The mattress had a huge blood stain on it, and they give you these thin 2 sheets, so you're basically laying on bars. From middle of my shin to my feet, stuck through the bars, which in prison, you don't really want to stick your leg and arm through bars, because someone go up and grab it, break it, twist it.